The Trumpet Daily Update from Jerusalem.
Hello again, this is Stephen Flurry reporting from Jerusalem. In a recent interview with the New York Times, Egyptian President Mohammed Morsi said the United States needed to fundamentally change its approach to the Arab world, showing greater respect for its values and helping build a Palestinian state if it hoped to overcome decades of pent-up anger. Now, according to the Times, Morsi said it was up to Washington to repair relations with the Arab world and to revitalize the alliance with Egypt, long a cornerstone of regional stability. That's from the Times. Now, Washington, remember, is currently supplying billions of dollars in funding to Egypt, despite the nation's increased hostility toward the West, a decidedly undemocratic takeover by the Muslim Brotherhood, and a complete disregard for its peace treaty with Israel. And we could add to that Washington, of course, is responsible largely for clearing the way so that this Morsi could be president. It's interesting, really, when you compare what Morsi said in this interview from the New York Times about the U.S. needing to fundamentally change its approach to the Arab world. If you compare that with what Barack Obama said before he was elected back in 2008, just days before the election, then Senator Obama said at one of his campaign rallies, after decades of broken politics in Washington and 8 years of failed policies from George W. Bush, we are 5 days away, he said, from fundamentally transforming the United States of America. And I think many would say now, almost 4 years on from that he certainly had some success in transforming the United States. He certainly helped to radically transform the Middle East. In the Cairo speech from 2009, remember, President Obama called for a new beginning between the United States and Muslims around the world, one based on mutual interest and mutual respect. This outreach, as Charles Krauthammer noted in his column just last week, implied that the relationship previously had been based on disrespect through all those previous administrations, George Bush and before, I suppose. Curious, Krauthammer wrote, as over the previous 20 years, America had 6 times committed its military forces on behalf of oppressed Muslims, 3 times for reasons of pure humanitarianism in Somalia, Bosnia, Kosovo, where no U.S. interests were at stake. And yet, look at where we are in the Middle East today. After so many fundamental changes in recent years, it really staggers the mind when you consider just how far the U.S. has fallen here in the Middle East in terms of power and influence. The Islamic world is convulsed with an explosion of anti-Americanism, Krauthammer said. From Tunisia to Lebanon, American schools, businesses, and diplomatic facilities set ablaze, a U.S. ambassador and 3 others murdered in Benghazi, the black flag of Salafism, of which Al-Qaeda is a prominent element, raised over our embassies in Tunisia, Egypt, Yemen, and Sudan. The administration, staggered and confused, blames it all on a 14-minute trailer for a film no one has seen and may not even exist. Now, of course, to admit otherwise or to pin the blame elsewhere would be to also admit the abysmal failure of Mr. Obama's fundamentally new approach, his new foreign policy for this region. Krauthammer said, religious provocations are endless. Resentment about the 5-century decline of the Islamic world is a constant. What's new, the crucial variable, is the unmistakable sound of a superpower in retreat. That's the new element that's added here. That's what's bringing about these fundamental transformations that we see here in the Middle East and also back in America too. Now, for more on this failure of America's Muslim outreach, be sure to watch a recent Trumpet Daily episode that we produced on this subject by that very name, the failure of that Muslim outreach. It's posted at thetrumpet.com on the Trumpet Daily page. This is Stephen Flurry reporting to you from Jerusalem.